40 cats that were frozen in what appeared to be meat freezers.
Put your hands behind your back. What's going on? You're under arrest.
From gruesome discoveries to bizarre artifacts, law enforcement personnel across the globe have encountered things that defy explanation.
Let's hurry. There is nothing to fear here.
These 20 disturbingly creepy findings by the police aren't just puzzles to be solved. They're eerie glimpses into the human psyche and the dark corners of our world. Prepare to be shocked, mystified, and utterly fascinated. Number 20. The gold and cash-filled suitcase. Can you imagine stumbling upon a suitcase filled with 89 bars of gold and $134,000 in cash? It sounds like something out of a mystery novel, but this is precisely what happened in the small Italian town of Scandicci. In 2017, the Italian police were conducting a routine check on buses. Elio, the clever police dog, suddenly caught the whiff of something strange. Following his nose, Elio led the police to a suitcase that belongs to a 58-year-old man. The traveler claims he's a goldsmith and that the gold and cash were legally acquired as he's on his way from Switzerland to Italy. But the man has no documents to prove where the money and gold came from or where they're going. The police's instincts kicked in and they seized the suitcase. An investigation into possible money laundering and tax evasion begins. The total value? An astonishing $1.8 million. But there's more to this story. The man has a criminal record for fraud and forgery. He was arrested and charged with smuggling and concealing illicit assets. The police later declared this one of the largest seizures of cash and gold in Italy's history. Number 19. A freezer full of frozen cats. On April 2022, police in Arizona made a shocking discovery. A tip led them to Michael Patrick Turland, a 43-year-old man, and what they found at his residence was downright horrifying. A freezer filled with 183 animals, including dogs, cats, and birds. Some of the animals were frozen while still alive. But this isn't the only time a discovery like this has been made. Flashback to October 2016, Long Island City, New York. A man purchased a storage unit for $150, expecting to find forgotten treasures or ordinary items left behind. Instead, he uncovered a nightmare. At least 40 dead cats inside 2 freezers. Some of the cats were frozen together, and one was tortured. The police were called, and the images from the scene were described as absolutely disgusting and heartbreaking. A 66-year-old woman who stopped paying for the unit was found to have rented it and stopped paying the rent till July 2016. Number 18. The shocking discovery of a hidden firearm inside a computer. In 2016 at Houston Airport, TSA officers, ever watchful, are going through the usual routine of scanning checked baggage. But on this particular day, something extraordinary occurred. The X-ray machine beeped an alert, and what was discovered sent shockwaves through the security staff. A loaded firearm wrapped meticulously in duct tape and hidden inside a computer case. The passenger, thinking they were clever, had covered the weapon with modeling clay, attempting to create an uneven and porous surface that would baffle any attempt to dust for fingerprints. The TSA agents, well-trained and vigilant, were not fooled by this ploy. They spring into action. The police were alerted, the passenger was apprehended, and the investigation began. Criminal charges, civil penalties, and a world of trouble awaited the would-be smuggler, all because of an attempt to outwit the security systems. The very method chosen to conceal the gun became an intriguing puzzle. Why duct tape and clay? Was it a misguided attempt to escape detection or something more sinister? The mysteries surrounding the case puzzle the TSA to this day. Number 17. The mysterious tiger. Let us take you on a roller coaster of disbelief. Somewhere in Houston, Texas, an old, eerily quiet house stood in 2019. The kind that locals whisper about and children dared each other to approach. Now imagine sneaking into that house to, let's say, enjoy some cannabis. That's what one guy did, thinking he'd find solitude. But what he found instead was beyond the wildest of imaginations. A massive live tiger, locked in a suffocatingly small cage in the garage. Can you believe that? He called the police with his voice shaking, maybe thinking they'll think he was high or worse, hallucinating. But the police, in a twist even they couldn't anticipate, found the majestic creature, starving for freedom and space. They find fresh meat nearby, a poor attempt to care for such a wild beast. In an operation that must have looked like something out of an action film, they tranquilized the tiger, used a wrecker to carefully pull it out, and transported it to a shelter. Now here's the heartwarming bit. This tiger, which had probably never known freedom, was taken to Cleveland Amory Black Beauty Ranch in Murchison, Texas. It's a lush 5-acre habitat mimicking the wild, home to 2 other tigers and around 800 rescued animals. Number 16. The Secret Stash. Miami is a city of glitz, glam, and some deeply hidden secrets. On the surface, Luis Hernandez Gonzalez was just your regular guy, a 44-year-old businessman running a gardening equipment store in North Miami-Dade. But peel back a layer or two and things start to get interesting. Whispers had been circulating about Luis for years. Word on the street was he wasn't just selling gardening tools. Rumors linked him to the underground marijuana world, with tentacles reaching from Tennessee to Florida. DEA agents had him on their radar since 2010, and boy did their patience pay off. On June 28, 2016, in a scene that could rival any crime thriller, police raided his store. They expected to find evidence, but not the whopping $180,000 in cash, nor the uniquely named marijuana strains Super Skunk and Chernobyl. Yet the real shocker was still to come. The very next day, in a posh Miami Lakes neighborhood behind the secure gates, was Luis's house. Behind its walls was a secret chamber, accessible only through the attic, reminiscent of spy movies. And within, an astonishing sight: 24 vibrant orange buckets from Home Depot, each brimming with stacks upon stacks of $100 bills sealed tight. The collective value? A jaw-dropping $10 to $20 million, making it the most mammoth cash bust in Miami-Dade's history. As if that weren't enough, the house also concealed an arsenal of anabolic steroids and a loaded Tech-9 pistol. Luis faced the music, arrested on charges as dramatic as his secret stash, money laundering, marijuana trafficking, and possession of a firearm during a felony. And his sister Salma, 32, who seemed complicit in the shady business, was also caught. Number 15. The real-life Marvel heroes of Lima's underworld. On Halloween of 2022, while most of Lima's children were donning their favorite superhero costumes, a daring group of police officers were doing the same. But instead of trick-or-treating, they were preparing to fight real villains. Enter the scene. 4 Peruvian police officers dressed as Marvel superheroes: Spider-Man, Captain America, Thor, and Black Widow. Their target? A suspected drug den nestled in one of Lima's most dangerous areas, where criminals ruled with cruelty. This operation, dubbed Marvel by the police force, was about to become legendary. Armed with special equipment, the superheroes descended on the house, breaking down the steel door and storming inside with guns drawn. The alleged criminals, 3 men and a woman, were arrested, and what the police uncovered was nothing short of staggering. 3,250 packages of cocaine paste, 287 bags of cocaine, 127 packets of marijuana, altogether weighing an astounding 278 kilograms, were found. It was one of the largest drug busts in Peru's history, and the heroic police officers were lauded as the real Avengers, saving the world from evil forces. Number 14. The disturbing secrets of Anatoly Moskvin, the grave collector. Meet Anatoly Moskvin. Scholar, historian, author, and man fascinated by death. At the tender age of 13, he was forced to kiss the corpse of an 11-year-old girl at her funeral. This chilling experience ignited a belief in magic and resurrection within him, and it didn't stop there. Between 2005 and 2007, Moskvin embarked on a morbid journey. Visiting over 750 cemeteries, he meticulously documented graves, researched the lives of the deceased, and collected their personal belongings. It sounds odd, but the true horror was yet to unfold. Out of the graves, Moskvin selected 29 girls and women who had died young or tragically. He exhumed their bodies and brought them to his apartment where he lived with his unsuspecting parents. And then he turned the corpses into life-sized dolls, preserving them with wax and cloth, decorating them with makeup, glass eyes, clothes, and wigs. He gave them names, talked to them, treated them like children, claiming to love them, trying to save their souls, and even performing rituals to bring them back to life. He insisted that he had psychic powers, enabling him to communicate with the dead. His parents, blissfully unaware of the horror that resided in their home, thought these dolls were merely a hobby. But the truth surfaced in 2011 when the police, following up on grave desecrations, raided their apartment. Moskvin was arrested and charged, facing up to 5 years in prison. But a diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia spared him jail time, and he was sent to a psychiatric hospital instead. As of 2011, he remains in custody, a haunting figure in Russia's criminal history. Number 13. The Lake Secret. September 2013, Sayre, Oklahoma. A small town with a mystery as deep and murky as the waters of Foss Lake. Police officers, testing some new sonar equipment, were about to stumble upon a shocking discovery that would rip open a decades-old enigma and leave the townsfolk in disbelief. As the sonars pinged echo across the lake, a strange shadow emerged from the deep. 2 cars, a green 1952 Chevrolet and a blue 1969 Chevrolet Camaro, were lying submerged in the darkness. Inside those rusting, waterlogged cars were the skeletal remains of 6 people, missing for decades, their stories untold, their lives forgotten. In the Camaro, the remains of 3 teenagers from Sayre: Jimmy Allen Williams, 16, Leah Gale Johnson, 18, and Thomas Michael Rios, 18. They had gone out on a ride in Williams's blue Camaro, planning to attend a football game or possibly go hunting, as 2 rusted rifles were found in the car. But they never returned, vanishing without a trace, leaving their families in an agony of uncertainty. What happened to them on that fateful night? How did they end up at the bottom of Foss Lake? The answers were lost in time. In the green Chevrolet, the remains of John Alva Porter, 69, Cleburne Hammock, 42, and Nora Marie Duncan, 58, also missing since 1969. 3 more lives cut short. 3 more families left wondering, waiting, never knowing what had befallen their loved ones. DNA tests later confirmed the identities, and the cause of death was revealed to be accidental drowning. Number 12. Mr. Teeth, the alligator guardian of a hidden stash. Moving on to Castro Valley, California, where an even stranger mystery was about to unfold. It was a routine probation check, a normal-looking house, and inside, a secret as bizarre as it is terrifying. Officers making their way through the home stumbled upon something utterly unexpected: an alligator. Yes, an alligator 5 feet long, lurking in a plexiglass tank. And it was guarding something: 34 pounds of marijuana, valued at an estimated $100,000. Meet Mr. Teeth, the most unlikely of guardians, an exotic creature conscripted into the service of crime. His owner, Asif Meyer, had gotten the alligator to commemorate rapper Tupac Shakur's death in 1996. But Mr. Teeth's role had grown far more sinister. The use of an alligator to guard illegal drugs was as shocking as it was unusual. It showcased the audacity of the criminal mind, the lengths some people will go to, and the dangers they will court, not only for themselves but for others, and even for the animals they exploit. Meyer was arrested on suspicion of possessing marijuana for sale and faced additional charges for owning an exotic animal without a permit. Mr. Teeth, the unfortunate alligator, was found to be gravely ill and taken to the Oakland Zoo's veterinary hospital.
35 to 75, maybe even 85 years old.
Number 11. The Masked Farm. Take a scenic journey to the rustic rural area of Toledo, Spain, and you'll find sprawling fields that cover 120,000 square meters, an area so vast it equals more than 16 standard football fields. At first glance, you might think this expansive farm is a proud testament to Spain's agricultural heritage, growing harmless hemp for industrial purposes. But looks can be deceiving. The farm's secret is something much darker, much more elusive. Welcome to the heart of Europe's largest ever police seizure of marijuana, a place where nothing is quite as it seems. The very plants that appeared to be legal hemp were none other than cannabis sativa, the marijuana that possesses mind-altering psychoactive effects. But here's the twist. They were genetically modified to look just like hemp. The police uncovered this grand deception, seizing a staggering 135,000 marijuana plants. But that's not all. Tucked away in nearby warehouses, they found 30 tons of dried marijuana and 3,720 kilograms of buds, all prepped and ready for distribution. Just think of the scale of this operation. Another 112 kilograms of buds intercepted at Madrid's main airport, masquerading under the innocuous label of plants. The authorities were closing in, the net was tightening, and the farm's darkest secrets were being dragged into the light. 3 individuals were arrested, and 6 more are under investigation, all suspected of a heinous crime against public health. Number 10. Russia's terrifying smuggling secret. December 2015. A chilly winter's day in Russia, the kind that numbs your bones and stills your breath. Officers investigating a small lumber company stumbled across something they could never unsee: 37 unmarked bags, seemingly filled with sawdust, hidden inside railway cars. An ordinary find, perhaps? Oh, if only it were that simple. Inside those bags lay something so shocking, so disturbingly creepy it would chill your blood: a pile of severed bear parts, all intended for smuggling abroad. Yes, 527 bare feet, a bear muzzle, gallbladders, and even 3 musk deer glands. These grisly trophies were likely bound for China or other parts of Asia, where there's a terrifying demand for such grim commodities. Bear paws turned into delicacies like soup, gallbladders and other parts converted into traditional medicine. But the story doesn't end there. Animals Asia estimates that over 1,000 bears are held captive in illegal bile farms in Vietnam alone. They're confined in tiny cages, constantly tapped for bile through excruciatingly painful wounds. In Russia, the threat from poachers looms large, driven by proximity to the Asian wildlife market. And the investigation by the Ministry of Internal Affairs, aka MIA, continues, trying to uncover every detail of this horrendous affair. Number 9. A ghostly encounter at the police station. The story goes back to a chilly night on September 20th, 2014, in the quiet town of Espanola, New Mexico, USA. Officer Carl Romero was on duty at the local police station, diligently watching the surveillance cameras. Suddenly, the monotony of his shift took a surreal turn. In the Sally Port, a highly secure, gated area, there appears a blurry white figure walking with an eerie grace. The figure glides across the gated area, passing through the cages and gate without triggering a single alarm. A ghostly apparition? An unsolved murder victim reaching out from the beyond? Romero's mind raced as the figure continued its spectral march. Startled and not quite believing his eyes, Romero reported this uncanny sighting to his superiors, all of whom are equally puzzled by the grainy video. The officers discussed the inexplicable occurrence. They noted that there was no way in or out of the Sally Port without triggering the alarm. They shared stories of strange noises and unexplained images in the building's lobby. Some even talked of unsolved murders in the area. And though the station wasn't built on an Indian burial ground, the chilling event left them all in disbelief. The video soon found its way online, sparking intense debates among the media, public, and even paranormal investigators. Number 8. El Chapo's hidden tunnels. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was a notorious drug lord who once led the powerful Sinaloa cartel, was infamous for his daring escapes, his complex network of tunnels, and his lack of fear for the authorities. Let's rewind back to 2014, to the heart of the state of Sinaloa, where the story unfolded. Across the street from a National Guard base, in the city of Culiacan, was a house that appeared ordinary. It was the last place you'd suspect to find the most wanted drug lord in Mexico. But beneath the floor, under a bathtub, lay a hidden tunnel, connecting to a storm drain that led to a nearby river. Guzman used this hidden passage to evade a manhunt by Mexican Marines who had tracked him down. They were so close, yet he slipped through their grasp, escaping right under their noses, only to be captured 6 days later in the city of Mazatlan. The tunnel had no crude dig in the ground. It was a marvel of illicit engineering, equipped with ventilation, lighting, carts, and rails, spanning about 650 feet. But this was just one piece of the puzzle. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration estimated that there are over 13,000 narco tunnels in Mexico, many of them in territories controlled by the Sinaloa cartel. Some of these tunnels span nearly 1,500 feet, serving as secret highways for drugs, weapons, money, and even people. Number 7. Michael Jackson's Strange Collection. Picture a sprawling estate filled with whimsical wonders and childhood fantasies come to life. This was Neverland Ranch, the home of the late pop sensation Michael Jackson. But beyond the enchanting exterior, inside the mansion, lay a collection that still baffles and intrigues many to this very day. It all began on a tense day in 2003 when the police conducted a search at Neverland Ranch. The reason? An investigation into allegations of assault against Jackson by a 13-year-old boy named Gavin Arvizo. As the police scoured the rooms, they stumbled upon something unexpected. Life-size, childlike mannequins, scattered in various rooms, each one posed and dressed differently. Some even looked eerily similar to Jackson's young friends or accusers, such as Macaulay Culkin or Jordan Chandler. This peculiar collection served as evidence of Jackson's fascination with children and his desire to create a fantasy world where he could be surrounded by them. But the supporters pointed out that Michael wasn't the only celebrity to own mannequins. Icons like Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, and Andy Warhol had them too. Number 6. Operation Improper Coffee. Let's take a journey to Malpensa Airport in Milan, Italy, on a seemingly ordinary day, July 15, 2019. Among the bustling shipments and bustling commerce, a particular package of coffee beans was about to unveil a story that sounds more like a plot from a Hollywood blockbuster than a real-life police investigation. From the outside, it was just a shipment of coffee beans. But within, each of the 500 beans had been meticulously cut open, stuffed with cocaine, and resealed with dark brown tape. The package had traveled all the way from Medellin, Colombia. And here's where the plot thickens. It was addressed to Santino D'Antonio, a fictional crime lord from the movie John Wick, Chapter 2. The police quickly suspected that this was more than just a playful nod to a movie character. It was a signal, a warning that this was something more than coffee. Inside the package, a heartfelt note in Spanish saying, "I miss you so much." The trail led the police to a humble tobacco shop in Florence, where on July 18, 2019, they arrested a 50-year-old Italian man of Colombian origin. The man had a criminal record for drug trafficking, and the beans concealed a hidden treasure, cocaine with a street value of about $35,000. Named Cafe Corretto, or Improper Coffee, this police operation revealed a smuggling method so sophisticated, so novel, that it had never been seen before. Number 5. The Savannah Ghost Car. Have you ever seen something that defies explanation? Something so inexplicable that it sends chills down your spine? Allow us to introduce you to the mystery known as the Savannah Ghost Car, a phenomenon that has left viewers around the world puzzled and intrigued. In 2006, a video clip appeared on YouTube. A former police officer, claiming to have witnessed an uncanny incident in 2002, shares footage from his dashboard camera, footage he kept secret until his retirement. The video begins on a dark, winding road. A police car, sirens wailing, is in pursuit of a white car that weaves erratically across the lanes. The white car seems oblivious to the police, refusing to pull over. The chase continues, tension building until something truly strange happens. The white car makes a sudden left turn into a cemetery gate. Here's where it gets really mysterious. The gate appears to be closed. The police car slows down, halting at the gate, but the white car is gone, vanished into thin air. The video ends with the bewildered police officer stepping out of his car, looking around in confusion. Some believe that the white car might have been involved in a fatal accident on that road, and its spirit continues to haunt the area. Others are more skeptical, pointing out inconsistencies in the video, such as the lack of shadows, reflections, and tire marks from the white car. They argue it could be a clever hoax, an edited piece of footage. But the Savannah Police Department has neither confirmed nor denied the authenticity of the video. The uploader has remained silent, providing no further evidence or explanation. The exact location of the cemetery gate remains unknown. Number 4. The Radiated Tortoises of Madagascar. The island of Madagascar, a place of unique beauty and biodiversity, is home to a creature as mesmerizing as it is endangered, the radiated tortoise. With striking yellow lines radiating from the center of each dark plate on its shell, this species is not only considered one of the most beautiful tortoises in the world, but also one of the most threatened. In April 2018, authorities in Madagascar stumbled upon a discovery so shocking and heartbreaking that it sent waves of disbelief across the globe. In a 2-story house in Toliara, a coastal town in southwestern Madagascar, they found more than 10,000 radiated tortoises. The scene was horrific. The tortoises were crammed together, surrounded by their own waste, dehydrated, malnourished, and diseased. Many were already dead, and hundreds more would die despite rescue efforts. The owner of the house and 2 accomplices were arrested, but what was uncovered was more than a local crime. It was part of a larger, darker network of poachers and smugglers targeting these exquisite creatures for the international pet trade. But the incident in Toliara is just the tip of the iceberg. According to the Turtle Survival Alliance, a dedicated organization fighting to protect endangered turtles and tortoises, the radiated tortoises of Madagascar are being harvested at a rate that's both alarming and catastrophic.
Hey everybody, say hello to Muffler.
And this is Betty White.
Number 3. The tragedy of Officer Courtney Bennett. In Nashville, Tennessee, Officer Courtney Bennett was a 28-year-old police officer who was more than just a part of the force. She was a beacon of dedication, serving her city with honor and bravery. But what happened on August 9, 2023, was something that nobody could have predicted, something that left a hole in the hearts of those who knew her. Officer Bennett was a part of the Drug Enforcement Administration task force, and she was good at her job. That fateful day, she and her partner, Officer James Carter, were investigating a major drug trafficking ring in the city. They raided a suspected drug house in the East Nashville neighborhood. Inside the house, they found something far more deadly than they could have ever imagined: a stash of fentanyl. Now, fentanyl isn't just any drug. It's a synthetic opioid that's as powerful as it is dangerous. A tiny amount, almost invisible to the eye, can cause respiratory depression and death. This is a drug that doesn't forgive, it kills without warning. Officer Bennett was aware of the danger and she was prepared. But something went terribly wrong. Somehow she came into contact with the fentanyl and the world started to spin. She felt dizzy and nauseous, and then collapsed, her body betraying her in a battle she could not win. Her partner called for help, even administering naloxone, an antidote for opioid overdose, but it was too late. Courtney Bennett, a beloved officer, wife, and mother to a 3-year-old daughter, was pronounced dead at the scene. Number 2. Operation Viper. Imagine you're in Florida, a state known for its sunny beaches and vibrant wildlife. But lurking beneath the surface of this picturesque paradise is a dark and twisted underworld. A black market is thriving, trading in something so dangerous that it can send shivers down your spine. We are talking about venomous snakes, creatures that can kill with a single bite. Welcome to Operation Viper, a multi-year investigation by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, aka FWC, that unfolded like a thriller movie. In 2020, they began to receive intelligence reports and complaints that something sinister was happening in their state. There were whispers of a hidden market where venomous and prohibited snakes were bought and sold. This wasn't just a matter of illegal trading. These snakes were among the most venomous in the world. The green mamba, various species of spitting cobra, eyelash viper, rhinoceros viper, forest cobra, and even the inland taipan, considered the most venomous snake on the planet. The stakes were high, and the dangers were real. Undercover agents engaged in the shadowy world of wildlife traffickers, buying and selling nearly 200 snakes from 24 different species. The operation was vast, spanning different regions of the globe. As the investigation deepened, 8 people were arrested, caught in a web of deception and greed. The charges were serious, ranging from second-degree misdemeanors to third-degree felonies. Some of the accused were charged with selling venomous reptiles to unlicensed persons, illegal transportation, and even falsifying documents. In total, they faced more than 60 charges between them. Number 1. The Suitcase Mystery. On a quiet day in South Auckland, New Zealand, a family, excited and curious about their newly purchased trailer load of goods from an auction at a storage facility, are unpacking the items. Among the everyday objects, there are 2 seemingly ordinary suitcases, but what they discover inside is anything but ordinary. Inside those suitcases are human bones, human remains. The date was August 16, 2023, a day that would mark the beginning of one of the most baffling and chilling cases in New Zealand's recent history. The family, horrified by the grim discovery, immediately reports it to the police. As the police launched a homicide investigation, the mystery deepened. They searched the storage unit, combing through every nook and cranny, finding clothing and personal items, but no documents or records that could point to the victim's identity or a suspect. The police released photos of the suitcases, the silent witnesses to a gruesome act, and some of the items found inside. They urged anyone who might recognize them or who had rented or used the storage unit to come forward. But it was a mystery that was never solved. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.